Hello, everybody. Here we are for UFC 328. This probably going to be my last video for a couple weeks at least. Scheduling, I finally got a big vacation scheduled. Going to be going away for 2.5 weeks, starting next Saturday. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to get a video in for next week. If I do, I might try and do it a little bit early, which means I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the type of plays I like to do. But anyways, with this card here, I had a hard time narrowing it down. There's a lot of props that I like. Not necessarily a lot of money lines, which I mean, if anyone follows me, I don't do a ton of wagers on money lines, anyways. But I mean, and really a lot of takedown props that I like, and almost all my wagers are coming on the main card. Hardly anything on the prelims at all. So, all right, enough of that. Let's get right into this. There's going to be a theme in this card, and a lot of grapplers versus strikers. I think I counted up 6 straight up grapplers versus strikers. There's another one that's two grapplers, against each other. Another one where he could grapple. I mean, if he wants to, but the first fight of the night is Carpenter versus Ocha. I think this might be one of the one of my more favorite underdog spots on the whole card. Is Carpenter. Ocho is definitely alive for an early KO, but if he doesn't get it, I think Carpenter's gonna be able to grapple and get his takedowns and win the minutes. This is one of 3 or 4 fights that are targeted to go all 3 rounds. So I'm gonna lean Carpenter on the money line. I think it's still around a plus 150 range. So that's my lean for the first fight. Second one will be Susukara versus Santos. This is going to be a no bet for me. I mean, he's minus 700. And my whole issue with Santos, he's tough. He's going to be hard to get out of there. And Susukara should be better everywhere. I don't even know if he's going to have to grapple, though. So I don't feel confident in taking him for any sort of takedowns or anything like that, because he might just stay standing, because I think he can beat him standing also. I'm going to lean. Well, I'm not going to lean. I'm going to take Susukara. I'm fairly confident in it. I'm just not confident in how he gets it done. Next one, we got Sabatini versus Gomez. This is one that I kind of like, and it's another grappler versus striker, and it's another one where Gomez is live for a knockout, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think Sabatini's live for a finish. Actually, I think Sabatini's going to look to grapple. That's going to be his sole purpose, I think, and I think he's live for a submission. DraftKings had it at plus 225. I haven't played it, but it is on my list of, at the end, I'm going to pull up a list of my wagers, a couple sprinkles, and things to consider. And he's under the things to consider list for a submission. And then next one, we got Kopylov versus Tulio. I think on the feet, this is a 50-50 fight. So if it stays on the feet for all 3 rounds, I think Kopylov is live. But, yeah, I think if Tulio is smart, or if Kopylov starts, taking the lead a little bit on striking, which he could. I'm not saying he's going to, but he could. Then I don't know why I'm getting all these damn pop-ups now. This is ridiculous. And then I hit on one of them on accident. So sorry about that. I think Tulio should actually grapple a little bit, and I think he might. So my lean is on the Tulio side. I'm going to take Tulio in this fight, but Copy Love is live in this fight for sure. Next fight we got Old Man Miller versus Gordon. I really think this should be Miller's last fight. Whether or not if it is, I don't know. I know it's kind of like a homecoming for him. I believe he's from the area. He hasn't fought in a year. He's going to be 43 years old this summer. I think maybe in August or something like that. I think his only shot is a early submission. I think as the fight goes on, he's going to fade. I think Gordon's going to be better everywhere. I like Gordon to get the win. I'm not sure about this decision or finish though, because Miller is pretty tough. But yeah, I like Gordon in this one. And then we've got Dawson versus Rebecki. Another grappler versus striker. Another one where Rebecki or Rebeshki or whatever, how you pronounce it, could get a knockout. If Dawson can't get the grappling going, he's probably gonna get a knockout. So this is one that where you could live bet it because Dawson is the favorite. But I'm gonna side with Dawson. I'm gonna side with Dawson getting the takedowns and winning this card more than likely by decision. And then we got the next one. This is the one, Alvarez versus Amosov, where it could be back and forth. They're both gonna, well, they both are very elite grapplers, but Alvarez is an elite submission threat even on his back. So my question is Amosov going to be willing to grapple knowing that? I still think he is. I think on the feet, Amosov might be a little bit better, but Alvarez isn't a bad striker. So considering Alvarez has the plus next to his name and it's around a plus 160, I'm going to lean on his side because of the plus money. I think this fight is a little closer to being 50-50 than it is minus 200 plus 160. So I'm going to lean Alvarez, but this is a 50-50 fight in my opinion. Next, we got Gautier versus Diaz. Gautier should get an early KO, but there's no value on it. I mean, I actually did see one book at a minus 140 for a knockout in the first round, which isn't horrible. But I think he's just going to be better everywhere. So what I did is I put a sprinkle on second round KO plus 510. At first, I found it at plus 450. Then I found it at plus 490. Then I found it at plus 510. And when I'm talking sprinkle, I'm literally talking just a few dollars. I'm not talking even 10 or 20. I'm like maybe 5 at the most. Because is it going to happen? Probably not, but I think there's good value in it. So, I mean, the over 1.5 is a plus 200, I think, or plus 230, something like that. So, I think a KO in the second round at a plus 510 is pretty good. And then next we got Green versus Stevens. I think Green's going to be better. I think Green's going to be way better. I think he's going to be the minute winner. I think he's going to be the more high volume striker. Does Stevens have KO power and one touch power? Yeah, of course. But he came in overweight. He hasn't won a UFC fight, I think, in 7 or 8 years. I like Green, and Green could also grapple if he needed to or wanted to. So I like Green. I'm going to use him in a parlay piece, and you'll see how I used him as we move on because he is a pretty wide favorite. But I think his minus 380 tag is justified. I know a lot of people don't think so, but I really think it is. I think he should be at minus 500. Next, we got Brady versus Buckley, another striker versus grappler. Um, Once again, I mean, if you noticed, I'm on a lot of grapplers, which which I will admit, I do tend to gravitate towards them a little bit more for some crazy reason, um, and I'm doing it again here. But Buckley's definitely live for a KO again. But I like Brady. I like Brady to have a bounce back spot here. Um, I think he's going to get his grappling going, and he's very dangerous on the mat too. Brady could actually get a submission. I'm going to lean over though, because the over 2.5 is one of my wagers to consider on my to consider list. So I'm going to be on Brady. And then next we got Volkov versus Acosta. I will be the first to admit I'm a huge Volkov fan. I think he's one of the most improved UFC heavyweight fighters. Um, he's just gotten better and better, and you know he's only lost to the elite guys, which I'm not saying Acosta's not. Um, but I think this is going to be a 3-round battle. I think it's going to go all 3 rounds. I think Volkov is actually the better striker here, and he's way better at range, um, which is where he's going to keep it, I think, or try to keep it. And I think he's more liable to get his wrestling shoes going too. So this is what I played. I actually played Volkov over a half a takedown plus 110. That's on Bet Rivers. And then Volkov by decision plus 125. I am using the over 1.5 as a parlay piece. And I do like if you want to use the over 2.5 instead as a parlay piece, I don't hate that at all. I actually like it. I'll probably end up using it with something on a parlay. So that's what I got for that one. Then now we're going into our co-main event and our main event. And, we got Joshua Van versus Desura Tara. Another, we might have one of UFC's best strikers versus one of the best grapplers on back takes we have ever seen in the UFC. Going at it here. This is a 50-50 fight in my opinion, but it could also look like a minus 1,000 fight either way. Or it could look like a 50-50 fight, an even Steven fight. This is like the hardest one to figure out because has Van fought anyone of Tyra's capabilities when it comes to grappling and back takes? No. Everyone compared him to that Ray Tessera is just absurd in my opinion. I think it's like comparing oranges to apples. So this is my wager. Over 2.5 takedowns for Tyra at minus 139. I don't mind doing a ladder on this either because I think he's going to get him. But I do feel like Van does get up. I'm going to lean Tyra to get the win, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if after this end of the second round, Tyra starts to slow down a little bit and Van could start piecing him up. So I do like some other things in this fight that I will pull up at the end as parlay pieces and also one other wager to consider. So I am going to lean Tyra, but it's a 50-50 fight. Next, we got Chimaev versus Strickland. And, this is what I have written down from my notes. Chimaev, 50 takedowns. I mean, obviously that's not true, but I just think as good as Strickland is, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. But I do think he gets up at least in the first round or two. I think the one thing you got with Strickland, they're going to have a good game plan. They are going to have the best game plan they can come up with. I just don't think it's going to be enough. Strickland's only shot is basically he likes to throw a leg kick, then like a 1-2 jab, and then circle around and get out of the way. 1-2 jab, circle. 1-2 jab, circle until he finds his opening. I don't think that's going to work here. I think Chimaev's going to be all over him. So I'm on Chimaev, and I like this. Chimaev over 4.5 takedowns, minus 125. That is also on Bet Rivers. So I played that, and I don't hate a takedown ladder on this fight either. If you can find I really wish 6 was even money, but it's not. It's like 6 is like a minus 115 on DraftKings. So it's not even worth taking 6 when you're getting over 4.5 at a minus 125. Maybe throw a sprinkle on 7 or 8 or 9, something like that, if you want. So that's what I got for my breakdown. Now I'm going to pull up some of my wagers. Oh, there we go. So the first ones that popped up are my parlays, and I'm going to try and blow this up a little bit. And I've got, my first one is a couple money lines that I talked about. I like both Green and Chimaev on the money line. But to bring the juice down, I played Green by KO/decision and Chimaev by submission/decision. This brought the parlay to a plus 103. I actually like that's one of my favorite parlays, actually. Now my second parlay is the one I have the most investment in on, though. I've got Volkov and Acosta and Van and Tyara, both over 1.5 rounds. And then I've got Chimaev versus Strickland, start round 2. That's a minus 106. I've got 3 units on this. And then one that I haven't played, but I do like it. It's one to consider if you don't mind juice. This is on Bet Rivers. It's Green and Van to have the most significant strikes in their fight, minus 159. This same parlay on FanDuel is a minus 220. Now, even though I mentioned putting a sprinkle on Strickland's most significant strikes, if you wanted to add Chimaev to this, it would make it like a minus 105. But I'm not going to. So, and then let me see if I can minimize this. There we go. And then we've got, sorry, I was just trying to watch the hockey game. I see Montreal already scored against Buffalo. That sucks. I had no goal in the first 5 minutes of the game, so that I've been doing those on hockey, and the first round of the playoffs, they were hitting in the first 25 games. They hit in 20 of them, I think, and now in the last 15 or so games, they haven't been hitting at all. So now that I got off on that tangent, sorry about that. I just want to look at one last thing. No, sorry. Anyways, these are my singles. Let me try and blow this up for you. I'm just trying to do one quick thing live. If you could bear with me just for a second here. I've been doing these live wagers. Like if there's an early goal scored in a hockey game and they've been cashing I mean, obviously they don't cash every game, but they've been cashing at a decent clip. So I just did the Buffalo Sabres game under 2.5 goals in the first period at a minus 160. Um, see what happens. So, anyways, my singles to Sura Tyra over 2.5 takedowns minus 139. That's probably my favorite wager. I've got 2.5 units on that. Kazmat Chimaev over 4.5 takedowns minus 125. I like that a lot. Alexander Volkov over a half a takedown plus 110, and to win by decision plus 125. I do have a sprinkle on this Sean Strickland most significant strikes plus 325. This is on Bet Rivers, by the way, and I added a 25% boost to it. So I got it at a plus 406. And then ones to consider: Sabatini sub plus 225, Brady Buckley over 2.5 rounds minus 130, Joshua Van over 68.5 significant strikes minus 115. That's also on Bet Rivers because the DraftKings one I think is 77.5 if I'm not mistaken. Um, and then this last one is also a Bet Rivers wager. Gautier, second round KO plus 510 sprinkle, which I've already done that one, but I've only got a couple dollars on it. Those are my wagers for UFC 328. Um, there. Sorry about that. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, questions, sorry for pausing and looking at the hockey game for a few minutes. I thought I was going to get this recorded before it, but I had such a hard time with my computer tonight for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it was updating or doing something, and it took forever to even come on. But I hope everyone enjoys this week's UFC card. It's one of the best of the year so far. And any question, comments, please hit me up. Please hit the like, and we will see you next time.